Welcome, everybody. I am here today with the fabulous Joyful Doc, Jodi Ritsch. Jodi is a family practice doctor, and she is currently running her own micro practice in a town called Menominee in Wisconsin. Jodi previously worked within the Mayo Health system, and I am going to kind of open this up so that she can talk to us a little bit about her journey.
Thank you, Patricia. Always a pleasure to connect with you. My journey starts back many years ago in in about fourth or fifth grade when I decided that I wanted to be a doctor, and I just kind of put my nose to the grindstone and kept trudging that path. And years went by, and college went quickly, and then I went to med school, and my first daughter was born. I got married halfway through med school, and my first daughter was born 2 weeks after med school ended, and then I went into residency where my second daughter was born during that time, and then my third and fourth kids were born in the first few years of my practice, and I was delivering babies, about 45 or 50 babies a year. So I had a lot of sleepless nights, and and a lot of fun, but a lot of craziness. And so in about 2009, I think was my rock bottom, hit the wall, burnout type year. And luckily I had started to already kind of explore things outside of traditional medicine, and I had a little bit of traction in that avenue as far as meeting people and going to the National Wellness Conference and a conference called Nicobom, and meeting people in Eau Claire that had kind of similar thinking. Then the spiral started going in the other direction, and I stopped delivering babies and started sleeping every night myself, which was amazing. Started
Yay!
seeing practitioners for myself, like you, Patricia, and learning about things outside of traditional medicine that can help build us up and keep us healthy. And I went to a lot of conferences. I got trained as a life coach, as a certified leader of laughter yoga, and tried to keep fitting myself in the little box of working for a giant corporation in healthcare. And then finally got up the courage to do something different because it just wasn't working. It wasn't fulfilling enough, and I was getting very frustrated and thought actually that I would leave medicine totally if I didn't try something different. But I really got a push from God or the universe when my daughter, who's now a senior in high school, told me that she wanted to go into medicine. And I thought, well, this is kind of crazy that I'm willing to accept a life that I'm not willing to endorse for my child.
Mm.
so, so I thought, okay, now or never. I gotta find a way to like this again or do something else. And so the idea of a micropractice or a direct pay clinic is to get away from all the loops of complexity, I like to call them, where you just basically go back to the way things were in the 40s and 50s and just take cash and let people submit it to their insurance if they have an out of network kind of coverage. But a lot of my patients have really high deductibles or a healthcare savings account or something where it is not as important for them. But they certainly have the receipts and are able to do that if they wish. But the bigger thing for me is to be able to spend more time with people, because that was part of once I lost that connection with families, seeing them all through their pregnancies and all through their well child visits, I really missed being in relationship with my patients. To see people just for 15 minutes once a year was not helping and not fulfilling at all. So now I get to spend 45 minutes, an hour, whatever we need, and that has made a big difference.
Jodi, you call your clinic the Joyful Doc Clinic. Can you please tell us where that name originated?
Sure, I would love to. So I, in the depths of my burnout, heard a speaker, and I wish that I could give credit to who it was that I heard speak, but I don't remember. So, but basically, the gist of the conversation was that happiness relies on external circumstances and perceptions and things, but that joy is something deeper and more kind of a spiritual connection and something that you have full power and control over. So I decided at that point, because I was kind of new to the thoughts becoming things and attracting what you want and things like that. So I thought, okay, if I want joy, I'm going to become the Joyful Doc. And so I got joyfuldoc@me.com as my email address. And it was one little step, but it made a big difference in my day-to-day life because I had to give that out to all the places that asked me for my email. And so I was just constantly basically telling myself, you're a joyful doc, you're a joyful doc. And so when it came time to name my clinic, I thought, well, of course, I'm going to name it Joyful Doc Clinic, even though people may not get that and they may think that sounds weird. How could a doc be joyful? But my daughter, who's 17, added the Joyful Doc Clinic because she said that the made it less sketchy. So, so, so we enjoy calling it the Joyful Doc Clinic.
So how have you felt that, like, the name, giving yourself that name, it shifted something in you? Does it also affect how your patients relate to you?
Joy is very high vibration, and so when you come to a place where people are happy and joyful and they're glad to be there and not in a rush, and that you're able to kind of just decompress from normal society a little bit. And so I think that maybe it only resonates with certain people. Maybe people um, don't pay attention to the name at all. But I think for me, it brings me great joy to write, you know, things out with that name and give out business cards with that name. And if nothing else, people stop and go, what's this all about?
Yes,
So
yes.
it's planting little seeds of joy around, even if they don't come in for appointments.
That's great.
So
So I'm curious, so if say, and we need to explain here that you have your medical practice and then you do life coaching as well. And I'm assuming that those two different capacities that you're functioning in run into each other and kind of uh, flow together. But I'm wondering, like, if you had somebody come to you who was not in a state of joy and having a hard
mhm.
time accessing that high vibration, what are some of the strategies that you walk them through to help them raise their own vibration?
I would say that a lot of times that the my life coaching hat comes on more in my medical office than my medical hat comes on in my life coaching office. And that's for a lot of reasons, but mostly because I, make that distinction at the beginning of that relationship with people because we like to kind of stay focused. But when people come to my medical office, so much of their health concerns are related to their life that the life coaching kind of naturally gets woven in. And one of the biggest things that I've taken from the life coach training is it's guiding mindful change life coaching. So it's very much in the thinking that everyone has their own answers. They just need kind of that sacred space to get to themselves and kind of unearth them. And so one of the biggest things with life coach training is to just be quiet, which is very difficult as a physician because that's not part of our training to be quiet. Part of our training, or a big part of our training is to be the expert and to give advice and tell people what to do and do it quickly and efficiently and so that is very different from life coaching where you a lot of times just listen to the story and find out what is most important to them and then kind of go from there. But I would say that from a joy perspective, I really try to find out when they last felt that joy. And sometimes that was a long time ago, and sometimes it was, not that long ago. And so if they say, well, I really only feel joy when I'm in the woods hunting or when I'm play with my dog or something like that, then I just say, well, why don't you just start with doing more of that? And we kind of go from what they already know and what they already know helps, and trying to reconnect. Maybe it was swimming and they haven't swam in 20 years or something.
That's a very basic, what brings you joy, and let's just start there. Good.
Yeah, because so many of us, don't give ourselves permission to do those things.
Right.
But I would take a joyful person doing less busy work any day.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Instead of a stressed out productive person that does a lot of stuff. I have become a very big advocate for self-care and self-love, and I think that as a recovering martyr, I can see that tendency in a lot of women in particular. So I really, really appreciate um, people that come to me that are in that situation, because it's really fun for me to kind of walk them through and save them some of the steps that maybe I went through personally, just by kind of again looking at, like, you know, if you do this for yourself, think of the ripples from that to the people that you love, rather than resentfully doing the things that you think you have to do for them, which is, what society is telling us all the time with Pinterest and all these wonderful things, all the problems we're not, solving quick enough in more fabulous ways. So I think that is really exciting. When I talk about life coaching, I talk about um, unfrazzling your life, and they identify with that really quickly. They're like, yes, I am frazzled.
Mm-hmm.
They feel
Mm-hmm.
like they have endless to-do lists and aren't appreciating anything, and time slipping away. And I mean, it's, and in medical office too, because, they have anxiety and heartburn and depression and high blood pressure and maybe diabetes, so there's a lot of medical things that kind of trickle down from that. So I don't know, it's not hard to find. It's usually the people telling you how much they've got to do and how they don't have time to talk to you.
Right.
The people that need to talk the most.
Thank you very much for being here with
Oh,
me today, Jodi. It's been a pleasure, and I am so honored that you are going to be a guest teacher in my Radiant Living online School of Ayurveda in 2015. And I'm very happy all of the people who sign up are going to benefit from your wisdom and your joyfulness. So thank you so much.
well, it's been my pleasure, as always.
Thank you, Jodi.
Thanks for the invitation, and great to spend time with you today.